Going live forever. Ooh, first thing I want to do is cuss. That's just... Does this work? Can you comment? Can you people comment and tell me if everything is good? Because I can't see. I can't tell. That's too good. Hello, world. Are you there? No comments just yet. I'm losing viewers. What is going on? Oh! No, I'm seeing comments. Great. First, really good question gets to kick off this live stream because the idea is I don't have an idea. You get to make this content together with me. Isn't this exciting? And anything can happen. Not really. No questions about OnlyFans. That's not gonna happen. So you can just... I'm killing that before it even pops up. Okay, well... That's a good question. Is there going to be a book? Yes, it is going to be a book. I worked on it just today, actually. I'm halfway through my proofreading. Thank the Lord. And I think I might do it in English, because there is such a thing as Google Translate. Just kidding, I'm not gonna... Yeah. Is your girlfriend not from Sweden since you speak English with each other in your videos? Ooh, you're perceptive. That's right, she's not Swedish. Of course she's not Swedish. I couldn't be sane living with a Swedish person. Oh, I'm saving your Sunday anxiety, eh? Why do you have Sunday anxiety? That's my question to you. I'm interested. Did you ever study at a university? What got you into politics? I'm actually really happy I didn't study at a university, because if so, I would have been even more of a poor foreigner than I already am. What got me into politics is probably living in the reality created by politics. But, you know, once again, this is something I'm going to go balls deep into in my book, because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of factors. But just being a media consumer and going insane pretty much got me into politics. That's funny. Dwarf Runes is asking me, have you heard of Thomas Sowell? I just uploaded a video with him talking on my channel. But, you know, thanks for proving once again that notifications really don't work for most people. Why the fez, you ask? Well, obviously I want to pay tribute to my cultural heritage and my Ottoman overlords, who were much nicer to us than the Serbian overlords, so... No, but it's to piss you off, obviously. That's why I wear a fez. Oh, you have Sunday anxiety because of work tomorrow. Huh. You don't like your job? What is your job? Oh, here's a funny one. Were you once a juggalo? I remember seeing that you had an ICP shirt a couple of years back. Yeah, I like that group. They're really funny. Really funny. And I can relate to their white trash nature pretty severely. Are there any bombings or shootings in my area? Yeah, no, it's funny because one of the reasons I have to live stream is because my videos don't show up in people's feeds. So, for example, I recently made a video about how and why Sweden is a crime utopia for criminals. The video is called, and it got age restricted because Swedish reality is apparently just that offensive to the progressive tech giants. So in the video, among other things, I talk about how there was a shooting right outside my street where I live just a few months ago. Yeah, felt weird being part of the news like that. You read about the news, you work with the news, and then they become really all up in there, you know, really, ooh. Too much shushing. Do you still speak Bosnian? Well, yes, with my family. I don't really, you know, it's not a language you have a reason to use in day-to-day life if you're not too surrounded by Yugoslavs in day-to-day life. Do you inspect bikinis? Are you any good? Question from Bikini Inspector 1. Well, who's Bikini Inspector 2 and 3? It's not me. I do not inspect bikinis. And I find it interesting that you devoted your online presence to that job. Very interesting. It's more interesting than this live stream, honestly. Is your fez bright red, or is it the camera that makes it bright red? Because the ones I've seen are pretty dark red. Wait a minute. Are you accusing me of being a fez poser? Because I'm not. And I think you should take it easy with your cultural appropriation right there. Because I know, as a Balkan Slav, what the OG fez is supposed to be. Finland could elect a right-wing government in April. Now the two biggest right-wing parties are leading the polls. Interesting, because right now you have a feminist government. How's that working out for you? Did it lead to as many problems as our feminist government here in Sweden did? I'm interested. Because Finland always seemed, at least culturally, more sane and less of the problems of the Scandinavian mentality. The most difficult type of Swedes are those who've had a fairly easy time getting a job, so they have difficulty understanding other Swedes who have a hard time getting a job. Yeah, the funny thing about those Swedes is that once they have a job, they'll stay there for like 50 years. They're terrified of getting fired, so they don't have much work experience, and they're wondering why you do. Well, thank you for the Brofist donation that just came in there, Richard Bennett. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to ask me a specific question, then donate in the chat, and it's more likely I'll see it. Right now, I'm trying to sift through this wall of text right here with good insight, such as this. Your deep dive on Andrew Taint was very good. Well, I really appreciate you using his correct pronoun. That's very important. Taint fans are referred to as dingleberries, by the way, so feel free to spread that one as well. Have you done more insight? Yeah. No, the news on him are just getting creepier and creepier, so I think I'm going to have to do a sequel, actually. Richard asks, in the good old days I used to watch Var's channel, Burzum that is, the Golden One, and this channel, all uncensored. What the F happened? Well, Trump winning happened. It's funny you ask that, because I just released a video yesterday about how YouTube deleted 20,000 of my subscribers over the years. And in that video I go over, well, a few sources. For example, how when Trump became president in 2016, Google were caught on tape having a massive freak out, a massive meltdown, and they promised that it would never happen again. So that's when they started investing more of their own money into making mainstream media an integrated partner. They changed algorithms, they introduced shadow ban. Tons of stuff happened, actually. And now we're here with an angry foreigner forced to live stream. Kirby here is asking me, why are you wearing that hat if you live in Sweden? Well, isn't it obvious? I live in Sweden. otherwise known as Swedistan. Why wouldn't I integrate and look like this? Exactly, Elliot. I'm just using the cultural clothing of Sweden. This is what it looks like now. Miss Onion says, it's not hard getting a job in Sweden. Maybe getting your dream job is hard, and you can't always work at what you want. Sometimes you have to work just to get money. I agree. There's tons of simple work that's available, and you find a lot of immigrants in those areas, like factory jobs, just because Swedes don't want to work with filthy labor. I don't really have that affliction myself. I recently applied to be a garbage man. Let's see how that works out. I'm already used to sifting through the garbage of public opinion. So what else is there? Oh, your dream job is to be a teacher? Well, that's painful. Yeah, often dream jobs do become nightmares, actually. I found out the more you identify with your work, the more you work with something you're passionate about, the more you're going to suffer, the more it's going to suck, because you take it way too personal. You kind of start living for it. Whereas if you work with something that you absolutely do not care about, it can be pretty relaxing, like a Zazen philosophy of mindfulness. You just go there, do your thing, go home, and don't even think about it. I would definitely not recommend dreams to anyone. It's usually becomes a nightmare. Especially if you work as a teacher. My God, the horror stories. And, you know, I am a horror story, because I made sure teachers suffered as well, so I feel for you. Which site would I recommend that's like YouTube but without the censorship? Odyssey is really good. A lot of people talk about BitChute, but BitChute is garbage. BitChute has started doing proxy ban of stuff, so it's just as bad as YouTube for me, for example. I can't watch stuff that violates Swedish hate speech laws on BitChute. That's why I don't even bother with it anymore. But Odyssey.com, ODYSEE.com, and Angry Foreigner. Look that up. I have a very stable presence there that I can definitely count on in case something goes south with YouTube. Thanks for your donation, Mopiet Galning. You're asking, can we finally count our feminist party out of parliament? Yeah, oh, thank God. That abortion right there has been dead for quite some time. They weren't even relevant last election. I remember Swedish media, when I started in 2014, Swedish media tried pushing them all year long, tried making them seem way bigger than they are, and I didn't even get it. Because they're too radical even for leftists, which you wouldn't think you can say about a country like Sweden, but yeah, no, they're irrelevant now. Sadly, all the other left parties are about as insane, and the Green Party is pretty much as insane as the feminist parties. So the real question is, when can we get rid of the Green Party? Oy vey. I should start a TikTok. No, I really shouldn't. I don't think I need to lose more IQ points than I already have with this habit of mine. What am I going to do after YouTube? Have a life. No, but seriously, any kind of working class labor I can come across, I mean. Huh, that's a funny comment from William here. I saw Angry Foreigner is broadcasting live now. I haven't seen him upload new material in years. That's interesting. I've uploaded a shish ton lately. Yeah, no, this is kind of why I'm live streaming. Other than the pleasure of dealing with you people, of course, is since YouTube is trying to compete with Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, etc. They've introduced shorts, they introduced the community function with polls, they've introduced live streaming years ago, and now they reward people who use those features. So it's kind of a way to circumvent Shadowban. Of course, it doesn't work too well, given I maximum get like 200 viewers on a live stream, but those people can make a difference. I found that they make a difference, for sure. Hello, I am from Slovakia. I have been watching you, well, greetings, my Balkan brother. I have been watching you for years on the state of Swedish problems, and it was very enlightening, even though I did read about Swedish problems, but not caused by the immigrants. I see, yeah, no, Sweden does have problems that aren't just caused by immigrants as well. Now, I'm just gonna have to excuse myself with need a little bathroom break. I'll be back in 1 minute, I promise. And I'm back. Here's a comment going, I made 2 friends that are from Sweden. If I even tried to discuss some of the topics from this YouTube channel, they would shut me down almost immediately and say none of it is true. Are you sure they're your friends? That doesn't sound polite. Or progressive. Huh. Well, just remember that links to my sources are in the video description. My official website on Substack, which is also my newsletter, has sources for every video. So just shove that somewhere where their sun doesn't shine. Comment from Templar. Do you have a video you are particularly proud of? I have to say welcome to Sweden just because it has 3.9 million views. And I've had so many people comment on that video saying that it was their first red pill into the Swedish condition, even long before Trump mentioned Sweden. So it really played its purpose, so to speak. Yeah. And then, of course, Day in the Life of Angry Foreigner, where I bang a skeleton. That was really fun to record. That was like a whole psychotic sketch thing. Overall, the comedy videos I'm more happy with rather than the, torture porn, infotainment news stuff. But the comedy stuff isn't really what people want to see the most. It doesn't give the most views. Maybe it's my sense of humor. I don't know. Any thoughts on Bosnian politics? Absolutely not. That place is... forget about it. I'm not even gonna bother. Thank you for the donation, Dinosaurs with Laser Guns. That's a really interesting username. And thanks to Lexi for your donation. How do you grow a channel if it's being filtered or shadow banned? Are there some other ways to boost content? Not really. I mean, in my case, it's pretty obvious that it's been just a long downhill with the average views ratio going... It's been going down with like thousands per month for the past year, so now my views ratio is anywhere from 6,000 views per video to 10,000 views per video. It used to be 50, then it used to be 70, then it used to be 100, then it used to be 150. So yeah, it's like a slow dripping effect. There are ways to kind of offset it and make it worthwhile, and live streaming is one of those. But overall, I wouldn't even tell anyone to bother with a YouTube channel these days. Tell us a soap story. Okay, well, yesterday I showered and I took a bunch of soap and did like this and then rubbed it where my Andrew taint is located. Does that qualify as a soap story? I don't know what you mean otherwise. Was your father the Swedish chef from the Muppets? No, I'm not Swedish. That is, however, the father of every Swedish person in this country, just so you know, other than Tage Erlander. Are you considered a public figure in Sweden? I mean, no, because I'm never talked about. It's quite fascinating to have like the biggest YouTube channel in the political genre and never be mentioned. If it's not me being blamed for a school massacre, which also happened to the Golden one, same massacre, then I'm not being mentioned. So that's pretty comfortable, actually. Yeah, I do get recognized if I go outside, though, and it's usually good. Lots of immigrants like my channel, too. What future do you see for Sweden in, for example, 5 years? Well, not different enough from what we have now. I saw a interview with a police chief who said, and it was very telling, he said that it's taken about 10 years to create the problems we're seeing in Sweden. So it's going to take about 10 years to solve these problems if the right efforts are made now, which they absolutely aren't and won't be. And that is what I was trying to explain in my video, Utopia for Criminals, Sweden's Justice System Exposed. The one that got age restricted, the one I uploaded just a few days ago. It's full of sources on this. You should check it out for a general description on the state. But basically, the justice system has to be reformed in a way which doesn't allow judges and lawyers to constantly let people off with the lowest possible sentencing. That's a big part of the problem. That's not something our right-wing opposition is willing to touch because they're too Swedish to function. So they're always nervous, they're always cautious, they're always keeping in some kind of line. Now I got a donation from Estragon. Estragon or estrogen? That's the question. No, thanks a lot. You say, I just want to say that you are a much needed voice in this progressively, no pun intended, less democratic country. Thanks. Sadly, YouTube doesn't feel the same way. Caps lock, free handguns for everyone. Well, I like the way you think, but I don't think that dream scenario is even likely here. Let's see what else people are saying. I am a so-called second-generation immigrant, and I love your channel, and I agree with you on the assimilation policy especially. Thank you very much. That's a lovely comment. People think that we angry foreigners are rare, but in my opinion, we're far more common than the media would ever want to acknowledge. Got a donation from Sad Bish. Man, you sad bish. Thank you. What are your thoughts in regards to the current Turkey-Sweden NATO Quran burning? Well, I'm wearing this hat because I want to support our Ottoman... No, I'm sorry. That's Balkan humor. You guys aren't going to understand. My thoughts are, I don't know. I mean, Turkey's a beautiful country, but I've done a video on Erdogan before, how he has the dictator small dick syndrome, where basically you become a corrupt anti-nationalist that has the favor of your people, like, while you're banging your own people up the ass. I don't think Turkey is benefiting at all from having Erdogan as their emperor, because he's ruining the view of Turks and Turkey in the West. And the Quran burnings are, well, put it this way. I understand wanting to demonstrate for freedom of speech, but it should be used in a way that's kind of sympathetic. If a bunch of people wanted to start burning Bibles to prove a point, I just think of them as dorky edgelords. So, you don't really have to shit stir like that. If you do, then I'm gonna just say the same thing as this imam in Sweden said, which is that if you really think God is so great, then he doesn't need you to start throwing rocks at cops and looting and vandalizing for him. The people who are the so-called Muslims that are involved in those riots and those violent uprisings are really shooting themselves in the foot. They're not acting like real Muslims. And there's many imams here in Sweden that would tell you the same. Let's see. Thank you for the donation. You're asking, how are the blue-collar types reacting to all this change in Sweden? Tradesmen, loggers, and such. You gotta have rednecks. Well, that's the interesting thing about Sweden. Do we really have rednecks? I mean, your average working-class job pays so well in this country that whoever is working class immediately becomes pretentious middle class with the big house and the car and the boat. When I was working at a factory, I didn't really notice a big difference between the Swedes and the Swedes, so to speak. So-called working class in Sweden is spoiled, peace damaged, and usually the Social Democrats are stronger on the countryside than what the nationalists are. I covered that in my video on the Swedish election that I'm sure you missed. So, how are they reacting? Well, they're reacting like Swedes. I mean, there's people who react to the bad stuff, and then there's the Swedish people that react to the people reacting to the bad stuff and call them alarmists and complain because, you know, you guys are ruining our global reputation and making sure that Americans aren't jealous of us anymore. Shame on you. That's more of the conflict you want to see there. And the Swedes reacting to this change, they come in all political colors. I don't feel like the class conflict looks the same in this country, since everyone is so spoiled. Do you think we as a society is doomed? No, I wouldn't say that, because, well, it depends on what you mean. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. And it's probably society's gonna look very different. But then again, it only looks different because Swedes are so peace damaged to begin with, so maybe you shouldn't be expecting to be able to leave your door unlocked and think that no one's gonna break in sooner or later. I don't know. In Sweden, we have raggare. Yes, exactly. In Sweden, we have greasers. We have people who want to be like James Dean, but without the social etiquette. There's actually a festival once a year where the so-called working class greasers come with their shitty, smelly cars, make the whole town smell like gas, piss in public, and fight and act obnoxious and rude. And it's funny because if immigrants did that, people would go crazy. But you have plenty of Swedes who act just as shitty as immigrants, just as loitering, just as, I don't feel like I'm gonna go out today. So, I know enough about the working class to not want to glorify it. Let's just put it like that. Now, oy vey, I got a lot of questions here. Let's see. Anything you look forward to this year in your personal life or otherwise? Yes, being done with my book and this channel. What is my opinion on nationalism? What kind of nationalism are you talking about? Are you talking about the cultural nationalism, the citizen nationalism, the ethno-nationalism? I don't like ethno-autism. Let's just put it like that. Nationalism as wanting to preserve a nation state is just common sense. It's a way to guarantee democracy. Because the alternative to that is globalism and empires. And that's centralization of democracy, meaning less democracy for normal people. So you need some level of nationalism for the local democracy to be anchored. What happened to my blooper videos? They were really funny. Well, when my blooper videos started getting age restricted, because that's simply how YouTube works now, I stopped bothering putting them together. Since, yeah, speaks for itself. Have you seen furries in Sweden? Well, that's an interesting question. No, I have not. But that doesn't mean they don't exist here. In fact, given how Swedish people act in general with their social anxiety and not wanting to stand out in public, I think that if there are furries, then it's probably a secret society of furries rather than a furry con like you see in America. Is that better or worse? I don't know. One might have to wonder that if you're happy that they're not in public, the downside is that it kind of affects every other group that stands out, whether it's a furry or a right-winger. How have Swedes treated me as a foreigner? Well, that's a complex question. On my YouTube channel, nicely. Oh God. In real life, not so nicely. They don't like diversity. They don't like it when you stand out. They don't like it when you're not like them. In fact, they'll even come across Swedes bitching about how Americans are too loud when they're in our grocery stores. They talk too loud. Everyone stares at you like you're a freak when you're out in public. If you don't have the same clothes as them. So, in a lot of ways, it's palatable how much they hate diversity. I explain this topic much better in my books. I'm gonna stop now and save it for there, because it's a complex thing. Silly question. Have you ever met PewDiePie? No, but I've gotten messages showing that he likes my videos. Of course, he's Swedish, so he would never have the balls to say that in public. Am I drinking elk brew? No, I'm drinking Carlsberg. Probably the best beer in the world. Have you considered studying? Studying for what? What do you think I should study? Oh, by the way, if anyone watching has donated on Swish, I can't really check right now since I'm doing a stream, so please do comment in the chat with your question and I'll try to answer it. You think I should study some craft? Oh, like welding? Like CAD? Machine creation? Like the craft of life? What kind of craft? Migrate to Rumble, it's getting better. I've had a Rumble for years, and uploading there is not worth it. It's like, I don't know, 200 people watching. It's, all of those YouTube alternatives are too tiny to be worthwhile. I mean, it's just hard to get people to migrate. Even people who hate YouTube still use it more than anything. So you see no change when right-wing party has come to power. No, the so-called right-wing party of Sweden is a center-right liberal party that have actively supported mass immigration because they think of it as a tool to lower wages, do wage dumping, weaken unions, and basically punish the working class, weaken public sectors, etc. The right-wing party of Sweden, the moderates, supported Joe Biden ahead of Trump. That's how right-wing they are. Even Sweden Democrats are iffy on Trump. Some like him, but a lot of Sweden Democratic politicians have bad things to say about him because they're too Swedish to understand the American spirit. So, no, it's going to take a long time before... It's not really in Sweden's culture to be right-wing. That's pretty much the problem in a nutshell. What is my favorite ska band? Toots and the Maytals. I don't know, does that qualify as ska? I think they're a mix. Thanks for your donation, Emmanuel. Very nice of you, I appreciate it. I drank up one Russian Yeltsin vodka bottle yesterday, hailing Yeltsin. Who the f is Yeltsin? What kind of a name is that? Right-wing in Sweden is just another word for left, but not as left as the other left. Exactly, Frederick, you got it. Are you much of a gamer, or is it a side interest? I'm not much of a gamer. It really is a side interest. I did play Broforce recently, though, in Swedish, for my stream. I might live stream games more often, and that would be pretty much the only time I play them. But, you know, I like my Tony Hawk every once in a while. Not liking the Fez, angry foreigner. Well, then I don't like you. No one's asking you to smell it. Does there still exist a real black metal culture in Sweden nowadays, or have they changed to woke black metal? I mean, yeah, there's probably some Satanists, but they're getting cancelled because of the whole, you know, vegans don't like the pig blood sacrifice decapitated animals thing, and no, neither do I. It's kind of gross. And you know, the seem to recall Shining got cancelled because they handed out razors at a concert where there were underage people. Then again, you could consider that too edgy to function, so it's hard to decide. What do I prefer, Swish or donations on YouTube? Well, all of it adds up, but yeah, probably Swish. If you donate using Swish, it's more direct and more of it gets to me. Then again, if you donate on YouTube, it looks good. So whatever works best for you works best for me. I should study martial arts. Well, I already do, and I can't work with that. That's weird. If Sweden were to play Bosnia in football or some other sport, who would you support? Well, now you might consider this proof that multiculturalism just doesn't work, but I would support My country, of course, Bosnia. I'm not fooling myself that Sweden is my country. Swish it is then. Well, thanks a lot, Capri. I really appreciate it. If you got to pick a gaming console to have for the rest of your life, what would you choose? For you, it's the original Xbox. Well, that's nasty. Why would you... Oh, I hated the original Xbox. It was such garbage. The controller was like this big, bulky tombstone. It just killed the joy of gaming. Then again, FIFA Street 2 is on there, and that is one of my favorite games. Nah, I'd probably pick the PlayStation 2 or Xbox 360. Those are probably the best consoles I've had. Ooh. I should try Glima, a Nordic martial art based on Viking fighting. That sounds way too funny. I'm gonna look that up for later. Let's see. Glima. Cool. Gonna check that out. Thanks for the tip there. Have I been to Casablanca? That's a place? I thought that was just a movie. Where's Casablanca located? Is there anyone like Varg in Sweden? I don't think there's anyone like Varg anywhere. That guy is, Varvikiness is very unique. I thought about asking him to do an interview on my channel because that whole thing that happened with the French authorities was pretty interesting. Have you considered becoming a politician? Yeah, I considered it and dropped the idea as quickly as I realized my personality. In order to be a good politician, you have to have a real comfort with having things shoved up your ass on a regular basis and act like it doesn't bother you. You can't be too honest. You can't be... There's no room for integrity in politics. Everyone's just trying to backstab each other, so... No, I don't think I would make it in politics at all. You have to be comfortable with a lot of things like teamwork, compromises you don't want to do, sucking up to journalists. There's so much that goes into politics that I don't have the tendencies for. Casablanca is in Morocco. I was going to say Italy. I did not expect there to be anything worthwhile in Morocco. If anyone is supporting me that's Moroccan, I'm sorry. Do you like Burzum? Of course. That's the, birth of black metal right there. It's one of the first black metal bands I fell victim to. And his stuff kept being good, even up until 2010 and later on. Glemsamhetens Elv is one of my favorite songs. I remember you had a video where you joked about building tree houses in the woods for immigrants, and then you said that the worse crime you commit, the better place you get in Sweden, but I can't find it. What are you talking about? Have I made that joke? Is that the one where I pretend to become a terrorist just to get welfare? Because I have a vague memory of that sketch, but... Yeah. In regards to the worse crime you commit, the better place you get, I'm not sure that's entirely true. I mean, there are pretty rough, intense prisons in Sweden where murderers and serial rapists go. Then again, it's only rough because of the people. The actual prisons usually work as spas, and there is the PlayStation, there is the Xbox, there is the, materialism there in prison. So they do have the idea that welfare of various sorts and economic prosperity cures crime. So, I mean, really, prison is just another word for welfare, where I'm from. If that answers your question. Now I got a donation from Alex. Thank you very much. You say, Milhouse will surely save Sweden. Lol. I can feel your sarcasm there, so I'm going to assume the better. Yeah. I'm going to assume you're not serious, that is. Did you see the Lords of Chaos movie? It's about Varg and the band Mayhem. Yeah, that movie... Ooh, it's... If you want like a really good cringe watch, then that abortion of a movie should definitely be checked out. I even recorded a movie review of it, but I haven't... for some reason I didn't release it. It's still on my computer. But they did Varg dirty. They did him so dirty in that movie. Oh, I made him look terrible. I mean... And it was really not in any way connected to reality. So yeah, it's a movie made by progressives for sure. What are my opinions about hustle culture? I mean, really, it's just a bad capitalist stereotype, isn't it? Living for work means you're living wrong. Living for money is kind of diluted, whether you have it or not. Why am I getting so many people saying that they liked the original Xbox controller? That's offensive, okay? You've managed to offend me. Can you take a second to take that in? Realize how weird that is? No, this is the best Xbox controller. The new one. You know, this is for the... I don't know which one. Is this for the newest Xbox? I bought it from my computer. Very cheap. It was on a good sale. This is my favorite. Because it looks like the PlayStation controller. That's why. PlayStation has the best controllers. Oh, stop pissing me off. People get this wrong, but just because you live in Sweden doesn't mean you have to be a Swede. What people would expect is that you follow our laws, learn the language, and respect traditions. Well, that's not entirely true, because I do follow your laws. Most of them. I did learn the language, and all you do is correct me on it anyway. And I do respect the traditions, but you clearly don't respect people who don't live exactly like you. That's kind of the problem, is even when you're an integrated, assimilated foreigner, you're still treated as some kind of a freak because you have a personality. Because the Swedish thing to do is to hide your personality and just kind of act like the Borg. So integration really isn't a simple black and white issue when it comes to this country, I've noticed. The Marrakesh Express. What kind of a comment is that? What's the context? I'm not getting any context here. You just wrote the Marrakesh Express. And I'm going to keep saying it because I just love to pronounce that. Here's one more time. The Marrakesh Express. Now I have to go to the bathroom. Sorry, I'll be right back in a minute. This beer is very effective. I'm back, my dear followers. Hello, and how the hell did I lose 30 viewers just because I had to take a piss? That's not fair. That's not okay. I like to test your knowledge, Rupert says. The Marrakesh Express is in Morocco. There's a song about it. By who? I've never heard this before. Sorry, I'm like an American. I don't know anything that happens outside of my own asshole. Acting like NPC Andy from Oblivion is the most Swedish thing you can do. This guy understands assimilation. Yeah, that's pretty much the guide I would give to people. Act like an NPC, act like a computer character that has nothing of value to say, and everyone will be your best friend in this country. Jesi lyckats snimio na bosanskom? Of course I haven't. No, I don't make videos in Bosnian. That would be futile. I don't. that's not really my demographic. Actually, it is. I have a lot of Bosnians watching me, but you know, it would exclude most of the, way more than doing videos in Sweden does. Swedish does. Have you ever met any Sami people? Not that I'm aware of. Hello there, my fellow Turk. Well, hello to you too, mental escapee. That's not a racist comment, by the way. That's this guy's username, so I'm keeping within the confines. What do you think about David Goggins? I think he's a cock-gobbling goblin. I don't know. I don't know who that is. I just found the last name funny. Who is David Goggins? I wonder how long the first Bosnian imams tried before giving up and accepting that there is no cure for the Bosnian alcoholism. You don't have to wonder. I'm sure it's in a history book, and the answer is probably 5 minutes. Then they took a shot themselves. Why not? Wow, and you don't think Swedes... how am I supposed to read your comment? And you don't think that Swedes like that treat other Swedes who are odd according to them, so it's not just foreigners. What is that sentence? Did you have a stroke? I've met foreigners who treat weird people as badly as snobbish Swedes do. Okay, yeah. You've met foreigners who are way too assimilated. Good for you. No, I'm sure that there's foreigners who don't like alternative people and yada yada yada. You know, that happens. But why are you even bringing this up? I'm describing what your general culture is like towards people who don't wear the uniform of business casual. Of course there's weird and snobby foreigners, but they don't base their whole culture on it. Is that really so hard to figure out? Did you stand or sit down while having an alcoholic breakdown on the toilet? Good question. Since I am not Swedish, I don't sit down when I take a piss. I hope my answer is satisfying to you. No, seriously, I'm not making this up. I've been to workplaces and public bathrooms in Sweden where there's these signs up instructing people on sitting down to piss. Because that's just the culture here. No, seriously, they do it as like this weird, it's less messy that way thing. Which I'm sure is how they talk, you know. So, I'm just kidding. They put up these weird signs instructing people to not make a mess. Which still isn't a reason to sit down and piss in my book. I can't explain that. What do you think about the Sweden thread on 4chan/int? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Is there something funny there, or why are you asking me? Feel free to describe in the... Hello, I've watched a couple of your videos and enjoyed your perspective. Wish you well. I wish you well too, James. What a wholesome chat we got here. Sorry you've had such a rough go lately. What are you doing for your mental health? I'm glad you're still fighting back. What I'm doing for my mental health is not sitting on the computer and looking for work. And working out. And generally trying to be more mindful of how I invest my time. Basically, when you see me in front of the computer is the only time I sit in front of the computer nowadays, and it's done wonders. Ha ha ha, well, I have to sit down and piss due to the pee signal goes like a spoon. Spoon, pee, you know, splits everywhere. What are you talking about? Can you please explain that? Your dick's like a spoon? Do you have a spoon, Dick? You're a Captain Hook fella, aren't you? Oh, I see. I see. Well, I'm sorry you have this birth defect where your dick goes sideways, but that's not something I'm familiar with in my own country. What if the solution to all world problems were empathy? Yeah, what if it was that simple? I don't think it is. Do Swedish women tend to fancy you, or look down their noses upon you and go, oh, you bastard? I added the last part because you gave me a character, but no, I don't really have an opinion there. I mean, women are women, and some women are pretentious, some women are not. I haven't had any problems with women in my lifetime, but then again, I don't really live for casual sex like people typically do. I mean, there's this weird thing I've noticed with guys where they have to have sex on a regular basis, and if they don't, they describe it like a heroin addiction. They're like, oh dude, I haven't gotten laid in like a month. And I'm like, I don't care. Why are you telling me this? Can we have a conversation about something more worthwhile? Like, why are you such a flesh zombie? Why are you a walking chode? I don't get it. So if you ask a sex addict, I think you might get a different answer. But I would say Swedish people are pretty snobby and pretentious in general, so... And yet, I found myself being liked by many of them. So, I mean, there's still an argument here to, no matter what people are like, just radically be yourself, and you'll attract good enough quality that works for you. It doesn't have to be a general whole. It can be enough to just get by. What's my opinion of Rasmus Paludan? Uh-oh. Now, we got a cheese pizza question here. I think people should look up Paludan more closely, because there's been some accusations that are pretty creepy, and I don't want to get into them too much. I don't want to venture into slander country. I'm just gonna ask that people look into that, because yeah, don't really want to cover that topic. Don't want to get completely demonetized here. Thank you so much for the Andrew Tate video you posted recently. Super important statement in a sea of divisive shills and fanboy screeching. I agree. Paul Joseph Watson, etc. defending that excuse of a man too. Yeah, well, he should, since he's been caught hanging out with him. There's pictures of them together, and he had him on his channel, so... Yeah, I don't really know what to think of Paul Joseph Watson anymore, honestly. He's not really that... He doesn't have much integrity when it comes to the truth. Let's just put it like that. You like cats or dogs or both? Well, I absolutely hate cats because they're sociopathic narcissists. And I like dogs because they're human. They're like people. They have souls. I hope that answers your question. Don't want to keep talking about cats, because then... Does Paludan have a sponsor? Well, there's this Swedish media owner with a Jewish heritage who sponsored Paludan's demonstration right so he could burn Qurans and have Muslims and Swedes get angry at each other. If you're acquainted with the common stereotypes in politics, I just find it very, very amusing. Kebab pizza is good. That's the answer. True. I mean, the answer to all Swedish problems is go into any pizzeria, and all of a sudden immigration doesn't seem so gloomy. Especially since Swedish food tastes like a fetus. Thank you very much for the donation, Capri. Your question goes, is your book going to be in physical form or only in audio? Well, I'm thinking of doing Amazon print on demand so I can actually get it out in physical. And I'm gonna hook up a little home studio and do the audio version myself. So I really advise people to follow my newsletter or my official website on Substack to be informed on how to buy it when it comes out. You can see it in the screen down there in the corner, down in the bottom right corner. And it's really the only way to follow me nowadays. The only way to stay absolutely notified. How high do you think Andrew Taint scores on the psychopathic spectrum? Well, enough to get his rectum plowed when he's in prison. I had cats, and if they saw you, Angry Foreigner, they would probably rub up against you and purr. Well, you still haven't convinced me, because that's just their way of love bombing. Cats are like people. Some of them are nice, but most of them are idiots. Yeah. I don't think most people are idiots, though. I think that depends on the country you live in. And if you live in a Scandinavian country, well, trying to see if there's any questions here. Do I have Instagram? No, I got banned on Instagram. Like, way too many times to be worth it, honestly. It just gets annoying to create a page, like, 3 times over. I got banned on Instagram more than I got banned on Facebook back in the day, so I really hate that site. All I did was upload pictures of myself unshaved and in like a blowjob angle, like, you know, coming from this, just to gross people out. There's really no way to spread a message on Instagram, so yeah. If you release your book physically with your signature, I would, without a doubt, pay extra. Really? Well, now you gave me an idea. I might do that. Depends on how many people are interested. Will you do a third Batik Hexa tie-dye hag video or a grenade crisis video? Well, I have a third Batik Hexa video planned. You know, the social justice welfare worker women with their little refugee boy toys. There's been a lot of that. I do have enough material for a third one. But considering that my first 2 were banned on YouTube because journalism qualifies as harassment, I don't really know if it's in the cards, but you gave me an idea, actually. I'm gonna put it on my to-do list. Just give me a second. Batik number 3. Trilogy complete. Thanks for your comment. Would you consider moving to Bosnia, and if not, why? Well, this is actually a good question, because a lot of nationalists in Sweden ask that question. Why don't you go home to your own country? Because I've been living in yours. I grew up in your country, so my home country is about as strange to me as any other country. So if I move to Bosnia, I might as well move to Russia or France or Britain. I mean, you know, it's, and also, I think the youth unemployment there is like 50%. There's no economy in Bosnia. You can't have a job in Bosnia. Everyone in Bosnia is moving to Germany so they can be their working class. The country is still pretty banged up from what globalists did to it in the 90s. Not just what Serbs did to it, but also what globalists did to solve the problem of the Serbs. Put in this bureaucratic system that's so complicated I can't even make a video about it. So no, I wouldn't, because I don't want to live off of vegetables that I grow in the ground. I'm not Swedish. I can't live off of potatoes. Someone in Sweden once said, I don't need friends, I have my cat. I don't think someone in Sweden said that. I think most people in Sweden said that. 40% of Swedish households are single, solitary households. So, yeah. It's this weird thing where people want to be alone, but they're terrified of not thinking the same thing as everyone else. There's a term for it, intellektuell ensamhet. Intellectual solitude. Was invented by some Polish journalist that wrote a book about Sweden. I don't remember her name for the moment. Sticks and stones may break me bones, but a dog can never hurt me. That's so true, spoken like a real poet. Imagine a Swedish 4chan. Well, there is. It's called Flashback Forum, and it's nowhere near as funny. What's the history behind your hat? Well, I mean, if you want to learn about the Ottoman Empire, I really think you should Google, because there's a lot of history. Any tips on how to hit on women? How do you get their attention and make interest? Why are you hitting on women is my first question. I wouldn't recommend casual sex to anyone. I would recommend stay focused on yourself and develop yourself, be a good person. And if you come across someone who's interesting, then be genuine and treat it like you would treat any genuine conversation with any human being. I don't think there's such a thing as pickup lines that work, because usually that shit just sounds corny. So, I don't know what to tell you, other than don't be a walking penis. There's a certain degree of abstinence that can be useful to men, I feel. If you can't make interest, then you're probably not interesting to them, and that's fine. Thank you for waking me up to everything about politics. Well, thank you for leaving such a lovely comment. Dodging my question, I see. Oh, we got a conspiracy theorist here. Now again, what's the history behind your hat? What do you mean? The hat I'm wearing, or the hat I wear outside of this live stream? Or the hat I wear in videos? Did I just dodge your question again? Please answer. Just joined your Substack after freeloading your content for almost 10 years. I feel less guilty. Well, you should feel less guilty, and everyone else should just feel really guilty. Rule of thumb. If you wouldn't date yourself, why would anyone else? That's a really good point. It's funny with some guys that complain about having no success with women, and then you ask them that question, and this look comes up on their face like, oh, I never thought about that before. Never thought about the fact that I'm disgusting, barely shower, I only really care about myself, and I'm bitter, and I have a chip on my shoulder. Would that really scare people off? Oh man, you double dodged. Well, you're perceptive, Emil. Emil. That's how you say your name in American. Emil. How many languages do you know? Swedish, English, Bosnian, and a tiny bit of German. Just a tiny bit. Nicht in mein Arschloch. How is your alcoholism going? Are you still boofing? I'm impressed that you're familiar with the concept of boofing, since I didn't know that existed in Sweden. You must be a very cultural man. You must be well-read and well-traveled. I'm impressed. But no, I've never inhaled alcohol through my asshole. I don't think you should do that. That could be dangerous. Could be really dangerous. Hey, it's my favorite angry foreigner. Do you remember to shield the subscribe star? No, I didn't. Well, thanks for reminding me. That's very nice of you. I had to inform people just today on my subscribe star about how my latest video got censored by YouTube, so I offered them a link there for how to watch it. Subscribe star is the #1 way to support me ever since I got banned on Patreon. It's been a real blessing and a lifesaver. So feel free to support me on there. It's the best way to ensure this channel's longevity. I'm also wondering how your alcoholism is doing. I have a friend that is refusing to stop drinking. Can you guys stop assuming that I'm an alcoholic? I know it's a joke we do. I know it's like a channel image, but I'm really not an alcoholic. I'm not an addict. I'm not unhealthy. I just have a beer and get happy when I live stream with you. That's it. I don't drink very often at all. And if you have a friend that is refusing to stop drinking, then you need to stage an intervention. That's a really tough question. How do you deal with someone that's refusing to stop drinking? Well, you don't enable them. You gotta be really rough with them and, kind of cause a little fight, cause a little friction, cause a little conflict where you tell them how fucking insufferable they are. Tough love. That's what you do. And, tip them about, I think it's called Subutex. There's this medical thing. No, that was an opiate. My bad. Don't tip him about Subutex. There's this medicine, there's this medical thing in Sweden where they give you this pill, and if you drink, it makes you vomit. It makes it impossible for you to drink alcohol, and they give it to alcoholics. So, that's something you could tip him off about. But also, people who abuse various substances, usually it's due to trauma and mental illness, mental issues that aren't being addressed. So I think that's a cry for help behavior right there. So have a real heart-to-heart with the guy. Find out why he needs to escape reality constantly, what it is about his day-to-day that he's trying to avoid. This person is writing that they've shoved amphetamine up their asshole a bunch of times. Did you inject it into your asshole, or did you just shove up powder? Feel free to comment in the chat. Antabus is the name of the anti-alcoholic pill. Yeah. That's, thanks for clarifying me on that, guys. That's a tip for people who do. I need advice for picking up women for a dedicated monogamous relationship who have the same fetishes and political views as me. Okay, well, I think that's your problem. You probably shouldn't be so hung up on the fetishes. And really, the political views are, you kind of want to share the same worldview so you're not fighting and arguing the whole time, but maybe lower your standards. Like, what fetishes do you have that are so important to you? If the fetish is more important than the person, then I think you're not really going to have much luck with finding a dedicated monogamous. Are you into rape play? Are you into snuff or something? Because if so, I would just tell you to be more humble and you know, lower your standards. Shia LaBeouf. I like to make that joke myself. Thanks for pointing that out. Shia LaBeouf is boofing alcohol up his asshole. Yeah. Got a donation from Sadbish again. Thank you very much. Very kind. Been watching since literally day one. Sad to see you go, but I understand your decision. Thanks. If you're gonna look up my book, I explain my decision even more there. So I appreciate people who respect it without even knowing the full story. Now someone's commenting he is a Jenkum alcoholic. Really? Jenkum? You're gonna accuse me of inhaling shit all day? That's rich. Been called a lot of things on the internet. I've been called a racist. I've been called a sexist. I've been called a Swede. I've been called a Jewish agent. Now I'm being accused of Jenkum. Well, thank you very much. Still waiting for that guy who talked about meth up his asshole. I don't think he got back to me. No? Well, alright. Keep it to yourself, buddy. Thank you very much, Snoosagara, for the donation. You're right. Be happy we're not in a tower on the 11th of September 2001. Wow, you're a real ray of sunshine. Sure, I'm happy I'm not in the past in a terrorist event. I'm very happy. Let me see what... Well, there's a lot of comments here. Let me just sift through and see if there's any fun stuff here I can respond to. I'm sorry for being quiet, but I'm trying to see if there's any comments. Put out your gun and wave. No, that's a bad idea. And I don't have one. Don't write stuff like that. Good luck finding a right-wing woman in Sweden, lol. Well, it's not like people who are anchored in reality don't exist in Sweden. But yeah, maybe the odds are a little bit against you. No flat earth talk? No. I'm not gonna talk about the earth being flat. Sorry, I'm not that kind of Muslim. I'm not a Muslim at all, actually, so... How long until Sweden elects its first Muslim PM? Well, Swedes are set to become a minority in their own country circa 2060. 2050, 2060. So, at any point after that, really. What are your thoughts about America, imperialist as they are, making us like America? United Nations of EU. Checkmate? I'm writing in Swedish, but our corporations are bought up by American corporations, etc. Well, who's selling them, though? I mean, the current right-wing party in our parliament is largely responsible for the privatization of a lot of public state-owned companies and selling them abroad. Fucking Fredrik Reinfeldt went to work for an American bank right after he was done in Parliament. I like America. I think they have a beautiful culture and beautiful cultural values of freedom and real diversity. But yeah, their foreign policy is very criticizable. And of course, Joe Biden doesn't really reflect Americans as people. I don't think I have to tell you what I think of Joe Biden. I made a video called The Creepy Biden Family recently, and I'm sure people have missed it. What are your thoughts on 3D printed guns? Well, how much can I say before they start surveillancing me? I love guns. And 3D printed guns is something I wanted to do a video on, because there's this really interesting documentary on YouTube where various political groups are getting these 3D printers in their basement out of fear for social collapse as some kind of self-defense. It's definitely an interesting thing. I'm pro-gun ownership, so obviously I'm going to support something like that. Are there any woke people in the chat? Well, I do wonder that as well. Because I have quite a few leftists who will like my channel. And that always surprised and impressed me. Now, if I don't get a really good question soon, I'm gonna boof on out of here and do something else. Or I might start playing some Distance. The video game, that is. Do you guys want me to play a video game, or do you want me to keep babbling? Answer in the chat. You want me to make a video on 3D printed guns? Well, I just wrote that up. It's very nice. What are your thoughts on Destiny? Oh, you mean the progressive streamer with apparent autism that speaks 200 miles per hour? I think Naked Ape had the funniest video on him. It's such a shame that YouTubers stopped making videos, but I wonder if it's still on there. The title was His Destiny is Autism, and in it he covers how basically the fraudulence of intellectualism. I seem to recall Destiny was defending incest on the basis of as long as you don't have kids, it's okay. And that's kind of where you end up with too much rationality. You just lose common sense. But no, I'm not an alcoholic. Can you stop asking that question? Is that still popping up? We just talked about that like 10 minutes ago. Ever considered hosting structured layman debates on your platform? I don't really see the point of debates. I mean, I've done a few. They were fun. But it's more interesting to interview people and just have a conversation. And I do want to interview more people. I definitely want to do that. Thanks for the donation, Lexi. Your question goes, have you played any decent games lately? Well, yes I have, but for now I can't remember for the life of me. What were they? Oh yeah, I played Huntdown just last night. Played tons of Huntdown with a friend. That game is amazing. It's like Broforce with 2 people. Now I realize Broforce does have a multiplayer mode, but it's a really good one. I would definitely recommend Huntdown to people. And of course the Tony Hawk remake for PlayStation that came out. They did a remake of... They put Tony Hawk 1 and 2 together into a new game with updated graphics. Amazing. Now I gotta... Tack för donationen, snusägare. How many donations for you to say halvliter? Halvliter? Well, you just had your answer. It was enough with 1. More Broforce and talk in between? Well, that's not a bad idea. Should I do that? I want other people's comments. Should I put on a game called Broforce and talk in between? Should I? Could work. I'll let other people decide. First, I'm gonna plug it in case. Now I'm gonna have to change the structure of OBS. Let's hope this doesn't crash the whole stream, because my computer is that kind of a shithole. Cyberpunk 2077. I don't have that game actually. But it seems good enough. Have you played GTA 5? Yes, it's very fun. Do you like whiskey? I don't like it, I love it. J&B is one of my favorite drinks, actually. It's a really good flavor of whiskey. Geometry Dash? I don't think I have Geometry Dash. A little... Come on. Okay, let me figure this out. I'm gonna see if I can get the game up. And I'll respond to your comments as well. So, that's still gonna happen. Wait. Where did I go? Wait, I blocked myself. There we go. Video capture, make myself a little more. There we go. Okay, I think this should work. I hope the sound isn't too loud for you guys. What level should I... Let's see for 10. Now my eyes are still on the chat, so don't worry, I'm still here with you people. Haven't gone anywhere. Just gonna murder all. Did I watch the Thesis movie you gave me a tip about? Oh yes, the Spanish snuff film. No, I haven't watched it yet. You know, contrary to popular belief, I'm not always in the mood for snuff. It's like one of those heavy topics you dabble into sometimes. Did I figure out what GPU I have? A good one? No, I don't have any clue. For those who don't know, this video is based on Sweden. Actually, that's not true, but it could be. At the rate that things are going, it very well could be. I love those suicide bombers right there. That's very diverse, for example. And now we got Rambro. Oh, fuck. My favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just because he just oozes toxic masculinity right here. Just bangs everything with his big grenades! Lower the volume of the game. Seriously? Are you that sensitive, my friend? There we go. Is this better? Is Adult Swim available in Sweden, and do you watch anime? Well, Adult Swim, I think you need like a special cable thing to look up. I don't have that channel myself, but I do like anime. And there I died. I was so close. Yeah, look, if you... I'm gonna have to ask some people to not spam, because showing me... Posting the same question over and over again is just gonna make me more annoyed. It's not gonna make me more likely to comment. Have you seen the trans train on public state media? It's the first time I've seen Sweden question some element of transitioning after the ban of hormone blockers for minors. No, I haven't seen that. I'm actually impressed they did something diverse there. Maybe I should do a reaction video to that. Or maybe I should be more careful. Who knows? Oh, no, I got a donation from Katzenflauscher. Sorry, I'm not too good at German, but does your name mean cat skinner? Like someone who skins cats? Is that your name? If so, I'm very impressed. No, I shouldn't have said that. Thanks for the donation. You say, hi, I love your dying channel. What do you think was the reason for a special way Sweden took during COVID? Were you in favor of severe restrictions? Well, when it comes to COVID, it was pretty obvious they just wanted to kill a bunch of old people and save a ton of money on not having to pay welfare to them. As soon as you're old in Sweden, you don't mean shit. Old people in Sweden are treated horribly. So it was funny seeing the right wing start to like idolize Sweden because they did something most right wingers agree with, which is act like COVID doesn't exist. It's really not a case of suddenly feminist socialist Sweden is on your side, okay? What happened was incompetence, just basic incompetence. They didn't even take basic measures for the risk groups in society that should be protected against COVID, and a lot of people ended up dying needlessly. That's pretty much it. COVID hasn't, Sweden hasn't had any restrictions, and that's about as much as I'm allowed to say without this being taking the risk of shut down. Yeah, you can't really talk about COVID on YouTube. Sorry, guys. Oh shit. Oh, this is a good weapon. Oh shit. Ooh. Ah, your name is Cat Groper, not Skinner. Well, that's really not better. Yikes. Yikes. The game audio is gone. Well, that means I'll turn it up a little. There we go. Now I hope it's better. Oh, there's Satan. Get behind me, Satan! And done. Oh, thank God. It's such a tough level. Katzen equals cats. Flauscher equals non-existing word for someone who makes things fluffy. Well, thanks a lot, Christian. Yeah, German is a complex language. Danny Trejo is probably one of my favorite characters. He's got that fajita and the ay ay ay! And I died. Because I was being too racist. Oy vey. Yes, now I took it over. This guy is banging himself. Come on, Chuck Norris. Come on. So close. Did the chat completely die, or did all the questions just disappeared? What do you think the best way to influence politics is as a nobody? Well, you're a nobody. So, no, voting, but it's not just voting. I think the best way to influence politics is as someone who works in it. And I'm just gonna be honest. You can't really do much as a nobody. You can do your part and try to spread awareness, but that's not even gonna work a lot of the times. So I think people should just focus on being good people in day-to-day life and participating in the culture in ways that are healthy. Have a family and raise your kids right. That's probably the best way to influence politics, because political trends come and go, no matter what else there is. Is this idiot gonna jump down now? Almost die! Yes! Oh, I was so close. What is your opinion on the war in Ukraine? Well, I made a video about the Ukraine hypocrisy, and I'm sad that you weren't notified. Oh, that was close. Now it's time to play as Ripley from Alien, otherwise known as Nips. Oh, well, that was... What's my opinion on opinions? Opinions are like assholes. Most of them stink and everybody fucking has one. So sometimes I'd rather play video games. Have I heard of the anime Made in Abyss? No. What's it about? Please, inform me. So, come on, man. I don't have any thoughts on the political situation in Norway. I'm sorry. What is happening in Norway? Feel free to inform me. Okay, so the anime Made in Abyss is mostly about an abyss? I would never have figured. Wow. What is particularly about this abyss is so fascinating to you? Robocock is really one of the best characters. His hold it in, then let it all out at once attack is pretty... I'm talking about the gun, just so you know. It's pretty efficient. There we go. Is it worth joining my Discord? Well, what do you think? Where else would you be surrounded by like-minded weirdos that do not judge you for your autism? Everyone on my Discord has some kind of diagnosis, so you tell me if it's worth it. Ooh, that was close. That's right, I do have a Discord, and I'm amazed at how many people don't know about it. I'm starting to think no one ever reads the video description. There's a link in my video description, of course. You just have to click the Linktree one, and you'll be given all the options to support me, as well as my alternative social media. Oh no, I just died with one of my favorite characters. I'm not too happy about that. Have you ever thought about starting a cooking channel? No, I'm not really. All I can make is eggs and hot dogs, and I'm pretty sure the latter one doesn't count because who can't make hot dogs? So maybe I should start a channel on how not to cook. I can't believe I survived that. That's insane. Oh my god. Well, here's a question that's tough to answer. What's my favorite thing about Sweden? Oh. See, you made me die by asking that question. That's how much you made me mentally short-circuit. What's my favorite thing about Sweden? Well, their lager, of course. They're experts at tasty, light lager. Can't find better beer anywhere else. Of the light lager variety, of course. Then again, I'm also a big fan of Budweiser, so I've been told that's like America's equivalent to Elk Brew. And the recycling system is pretty okay. Except for when they, you know, require you to recycle everything into different compartments. That's not really helpful. Have you ever done an IQ test, and what was your score? That's a good question. Yeah, I was forced to take an IQ test once in a certain context, and I was so bored that I filled out the questions impulsively and ended up being a retard. So, have I ever taken a test? Yes. Have I done it the way a person should? No. Would it be good for a video? Sure, but what if the results aren't that impressive? How can anyone ever take me seriously again? You know, because they take me so seriously now to begin with. Yeah, gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. Oh. Guys, I have to go to the bathroom again. So while I'm going to the bathroom, think of some really good questions, and I promise you I'll be funny when I get back. See you in a jiffy. Oh. There we go. And now we're back. Huge epidemic of Asperger's syndrome in the chat. Yeah, no, I agree. There is. No, I did go to the bathroom again. Would it be okay to play music in your stream? I'd like you to hear it and say what. No, it kinda... YouTube has a weirdly good copyright system nowadays. It's gonna pick up on it and plunge something into my rear end pretty quickly. Oh my god. What is the square root of 1984? Socialism? How would I know? What's my stance on transgenderism these days? I don't really have a stance on people's sexuality. I don't feel like I should have one. And even if I did, I wouldn't be able to say it on this platform, because there's so many topics that aren't allowed these days. You see people's channels disappear for just about anything. That's why I'm just being a wholesome foreigner playing a wholesome video game here, where you get to kill loads of people and no one thinks you're weird. Do you have interesting opinions about Chris-chan? Oh my. Well, I hate how many people think he represents autism. That guy was too low functioning to function. Also, really disgusting crimes that the people who provoked him into didn't get enough accountability for. But I'm sure you guys already know about that. My favorite genre in gaming is beat-em-ups and platformers like this. Basically anything that's trippy, anything that would be ideal to play on acid is my favorite video game. So I love Geometry Wars and Distance and Double Dragon, that kind of stuff. Do I get recognized when I'm out on the streets? Well, yes. Happens every once in a while. You go into a store, the clerk recognizes you. There's a lot of areas where I've been recognized, but I've never had any bad experiences. Luckily. People are very polite, and Swedes are very reserved, so that's at least one upside with living in Sweden. It's a cozy place to be famous. And half the people who approach me outside are non-white immigrants, often non-European, often refugees that like what I do. So oh, in the spirit of not getting you booted off YouTube, a non-controversial question. Do you like Carpenter Brute? Yeah, I love that band. Really cool how I was so close to beating that fucking level. Oh, I'm getting fed up with this game. Carpenter Brute is an amazing example of how you can be a band now and still do your retro so good it feels like the 80s. It's like the music version of the Kung Fury movie. Thanks a lot for the donation, Snuff Owner. Search up Giacomo Malafemina. Sounds like Swedish. Okay, what is this? Huh. I'll check that out later. Sorry, I can't check that out now because of copyright bogus. What kind of woman are you looking for? Well, the one I already have, of course, sitting in my living room. Oh my god. There we go. Oof. What do you think about Japan? I think Japan is one of those countries that looks nice at a distance, but I really want to live there. They have the same conformity issues as Sweden does. There are a lot of people complain about bullying there and shit like that. Now I'm gonna switch to one of my favorite games called Distance, because speaking of trippy games, this is one of them. Let's just hope I can hook it up right. If you guys just give me a second while it loads here. Or maybe my whole thing will crash, who knows. Now this is a game that's not very well known, but I'm gonna show you why it's a favorite, especially if you're a substance activist. How do I... yeah, right. Off. I think it looks good. So Japan is like Sweden. Yeah, pretty much. It's funny because they're doing the same thing with immigration as Sweden to handle the problems of a decadent, spoiled, asexual population that just wants to consume and die rather than have kids and invest in family. So, yeah, seems like a pretty creepy country, to be honest. I used to be like, oh, they have cool anime and weird stores and flashy colors, and then you realize that's just some kind of smokescreen, isn't it? Now, this is supposed to look good. You guys tell me if... I mean, I think distance is... yeah. You tell me if you can see it. See it properly. Where was I? Well, let's start with the top. Okay. Now, the storyline is some really trippy shit about some futuristic, you're basically a car in space, yada yada. And something about way into the future. What I want to do is turn on the music. Up. It didn't crash. No, it just almost crashed. Audio. Come on, man. Let me drive. What is this internal menu going on? Can I skip it? No, I can't. There we go. Oh, yeah. All those shining lights. No. Did I play this game in my 200k celebration video? Yeah, I probably did. But you didn't get to see the full scope of it. Uh-oh. Come on. There you go. I haven't played this game in a while. What happened to my burn a kid video? Well, simple. I never made a video about burning kids. What are you talking about? Oh, I love this game. Can I have a beer while I'm... In this game, you can drink and drive. Uh-oh. Oh shit. Did I wanna... Sometimes you drive after 4 or 5 beers and it's fine. It really is not fine. Please don't tell yourself it's fine. My God. See, I'm only reacting to as many questions as there are in the chat. Right now there's none, so we'll just enjoy the game together. Well, thank you, Capri. I'm happy you like the game. Oh yeah, you can drive on the walls and upside down and stuff. In case the acidy nature of the game wasn't too shit, what's happening now? No, 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 I'm gonna die. How does it feel to be a gamer now since your political videos are out of the frame? Well, it feels great. Oh shit, this is creepy. Yeah, maybe it's not a good game to play on acid. They have this storyline with some computer virus disrupting reality, and it gets pretty creepy if you're smoked up playing this. They also have this in a VR version, which gets disorienting, so I hope they fix this. The game is called Distance, and it's on Steam. Oh, you ask a funny question, my friend. What has been the consequences since Article 13 passed years ago? Yeah. A lot of people are freaked out about Article 13, and it turns out that it was completely pointless and unnecessary, because before Article 13 even had an impact, tech giants in Silicon Valley decided to censor their own websites way harder. So Article 13 isn't needed, because censorship is now so common on social media that I'm forced to sit here and play a trippy video game in order to reach out to my audience. You want to play GTA San Andreas on acid? Why? It's not a good game to play on acid. To answer the other question, yes, I do like racing games, but only if the... Wait, did I just die? Yeah. Yeah, I just died. I'm just gonna die. Only if the controls and the gameplay is good enough. So I like this, I like Stuntman Ignition, I like a lot of racing games. Road Redemption. But it needs to have a creative tinge to it. I don't think I can just play a generic one. I hope the game isn't lagging for you guys, by the way. I don't know if it runs as smoothly for you as it does on my PC. Detour? Where? Oops. Thank you for the donation, Capri. Have you played any Left 4 Dead games? Oh, I love that game. First one, second one. I seem to recall the third one has come out now, but I haven't checked it out yet. But yeah, I love that game. It's a great multiplayer game. Oh shit. Really? You're gonna have to ask me if I am from Bosnia? Of course I am. It's my whole channel shtick. Or are you just reacting to the hat, perhaps? Oops. Yeah, something I love about this game is you can play as a decapitated car until you reach a checkpoint. Until then, stuff like this is possible. Oops. Here's a good question from Mr. Forrest. Thanks for your donation. Have you or anyone in the chat been an addict? Specifically a porn addict? And if so, do you have any tips on recovery and how to cope with the shame? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a horrible thing to be addicted to. A lot of young men suffer from it. You're definitely not alone. It's one of the most common topics on the right-wing channels on YouTube and otherwise. Where the hell did I go now? I know it's the wrong way, genius. Do I have to jump over? Where the hell am I supposed to go? Wrong way. I'm gonna just die. There we go. Suicide bomber. Fits the hat. Porn addiction is okay, just don't start screwing the furniture. No, no, no. The only way to deal with addiction in general is zero tolerance, cold turkey. Don't even put yourself in the position of it. So look up that website, yourbrainonporn.com, and the nofap communities that exist online. Sam Hyde talks about those a lot, and there's a lot of people there you can ask for help, get more specific. And shame, coping with the shame, I don't think you should be ashamed. I think you should just seek help in the right places and get it. Now, as for a question, what do you think about many from the party Neons being from Bosnia? It's not many. I think I've seen one. List the names, and I'll see how to answer your question. I can't really answer it in a note. See, you have numerous porn addicts joining you here in the chat, Forest. You're not alone. There's no reason to be ashamed. You need to recognize your triggers and eliminate them from your daily life. Good point, Yuel. Thanks for commenting. Don't listen to the dumbass telling you to do acid. That's not for everyone. Sometimes it can create addiction. It doesn't automatically cure you. Acid is not a miracle drug. I'm happy if it's been for you, but I wouldn't tell someone casually to just do psychedelics just because you've had good experiences with it. Oh. Besides, with a game like this, you don't even need acid. Oh, and now we're flying. All the way. Beautiful. Now to answer Mr. Acid here, Kura. Yes, it's true that acid can remove addictions. A lot of people testify to psychedelics having that potential. Then again, psychedelics can also traumatize you mentally and unlock mental issues and hurt you if you don't do them right, which can lead to addictions. It can cause addictions if you're not doing it right. So don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of trippy stuff, but you gotta talk about it with respect. You can't talk about it casually, like, just hit this tab, man! Too many in the subcultures of psychonauts talk about it flippantly, like that. comes the virus.
Teleportation sequence to Earth initiated. Opening in 6, 5, 0, 7, 8, 2.
Primary teleportation sequence to Earth will soon begin. Teleporter will open in 3 hours, 10 minutes. Routing all non-essential energy to Sector 1.
Okay, there we died.
Primary teleportation sequence to Earth will soon begin. Teleporter will open in 3 hours.
Psychedelics helped you for a month until you start falling back into your depressed, addicted tendencies. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It can help you break a cycle temporarily, but you need to invest the day-to-day effort in sober life to actually get something good out of it. So even if you do get help from psychedelics, you still have to do all the hard work without them, which you could just do without the psychedelics to begin with. So I wouldn't advocate drugs for anyone just because they've worked for me.
The Distance Project is our path to life among the stars. We aim to push teleportation farther than ever before. Earth is behind us. Remember her.
And they really updated this game since last time I played it. It's a much better experience. I'm happy they're still working on it. Oops. Do I think that drugs should be legal? No, I think they should be decriminalized, but not legal. Difference being, if something is legal, it can be advertised and sold in a grocery store. That's not a good system. But if it's decriminalized, you got the system of Portugal, where people who are addicts are helped rather than hurt by the system. They're not treated like criminals. They're treated like people with mental issues, which they are. That's why they're addicted. Oh man, just like I'm addicted to this video game. Oh. Oh man, that was tough. Well, I didn't even see that. Oof, that was heavy. I'm driving upside down right now, but I don't think that's visible to you guys. happy you guys like the game and the soundtrack. I share your joy. Tell me if the music is too low or something.
All available energy is being diverted to Sector 1 teleportation chamber.
That was a tough game. Would you ever play games with your fans? Well, I don't know how. I don't know how I would go about that. I'm not really a tech-savvy guy. It's gonna be my last level, then I have to get going. But I'll make sure to pop in a few days and play this game again. And answer a few more of your questions. Uh-oh. This is the creepy level I was talking about. This is where the creep factor begins. It's this dystopian storyline of the game.
Earth is behind us. Remember, learn, go beyond. The path ahead gives us purpose.
Easy for you to say. You're not driving in this dark, creepy landscape. Are you kidding me? Cool. Hey, angry foreigner, what should I do if my university is forcing me to attend some equality lectures and write a task about it? Should I sell my soul? Well, you already did if you're at a university. No, I think you should do it and think of it as a mental exercise and just get a good grade. You don't have to believe the shit you write about, you just have to understand how other people think. And I don't think it's worth ruining your future and what you invested in over some PC bullshit, so just play along. Then when you actually have a job you want, be the change you want to see in the world. No, really though. If I was forced to go out of university and take those classes, I would... Is that blood on the walls? Oh, it's shrinking. It's techno blood. It's technology mixed with flesh. Man, this really is creepy. I can't handle much more of this. Someone asked me what my fears are. Right now, it's this video game. Wait a minute. You're attending chemistry, and they're forcing you to think about equality. What do you mean? How's a chemistry class made feminist? Oh man, That's creepy. The game is Distance, for those who are wondering. Just look it up on Steam. Uh-oh. Here's this satanic virus. What the fuck, man? Jordan Peterson says that you should speak up. Well, Jordan Peterson already has a job. Jordan Peterson has tenure. Jordan Peterson can afford to speak up. Someone who's in the pleb position maybe can't. You should speak up when there's a point to it, when it can lead to something good. You should choose your battles wisely. Oh, thank God I'd level this gun. And yes, this does exist in VR, in case you guys want to play it. I'm gonna cut it here before I develop a psychosis, and we'll play this game next time. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the Angry Foreigner channel. It's been fun chatting with you guys. Yikes. I'll see you guys again in a few days.